Mama Mimo Moo, Mama Mimo Moo.
Wow.
Remember seeing that?
You're such a nerd. Does your wife know how big of a nerd you are?
A little bit. I keep it a little bit hidden, but
Yeah, you got to try.
Yeah,
to
I wouldn't
keep it
say
cool.
I wouldn't say nerd. I would say more. I guess nerd's okay now.
Yeah.
Yeah, dork is not cool, but nerd is
You don't
like
like
you're
dork.
smart and you do cool hobbies.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome back to eXp Realty Minnesota. I'm your host today, Justin Campbell. We're here at the bunker for the Advisory Realty Group, and we are going to be doing a top secret meeting today talking about buying and selling a home. I'd like to welcome Jordan here. Jordan?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, it's a little fun being in the bunker. Figure we could talk about some cool topics that's happening in the real estate. What are you seeing personally?
Right now, a lot of the tours that I'm doing with Zillow, I'm getting people who are looking at purchasing and then currently own a property. And so this kind of opens up a kind of a multitude of questions that we have to have. And so I think if we can kind of go through a couple of steps, I think we broke down like 4 individual steps that homeowners can expect when looking to purchase a property where you're already an existing owner. Maybe you can kick that off for us, Jordan?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely happens a lot when people need to move. They tend to own a house. So they're either looking to upgrade, downsize, all sorts of reasons for moving. Mm-hmm. I think the 4 processes that I usually tend to talk with clients is either they're going to just flat out buy and then sell the property.
Let's just start with that first one where now if you're going to purchase a property and you're an existing homeowner, and we're going to assume in this case that maybe you have a mortgage or you don't have a mortgage, right? So if you're going to buy as a current owner, you're going to have to, if you're going to use a mortgage to purchase, you're going to have to qualify for both properties. Correct? Is that kind of how you normally
Yeah, it's
address
probably
that?
the most strict financing option to own 2 homes is essentially what you're going to end up doing when you buy and then sell in that process. So
So you'd have to qualify if you have a mortgage. If one property's paid off, you're going to pay cash. It's like a totally different scenario than this.
Yeah.
But if you're going to try to qualify for both properties at the time, obviously that's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. You need some income or have your old mortgage be a little bit lower there. So
yeah, having a second mortgage is going to tend to change a lot of things with the type of financing that you can acquire.
I do think in this case, being able to purchase and being able to buy like this in a non-contingent scenario is probably going to be the best case scenario, because you're going to be able to negotiate good terms on your buy side. You're not necessarily going to be stuck with some dates and all these challenges. And then once you got that other property negotiated, then you can get your property on the market and sold and get that closed up. So that's probably my favorite. So what's the next most common one that you run into, Jordan?
If you're not going to be able to, buy and then sell, we have to either look at getting you into just one mortgage. So what I tend to lean towards then would be probably to get your house ready for sell, take the equity, find some temporary housing, some short-term rental, or some kind of place that you like to rent.
I like that one. That's probably the one that I propose the most, would be to sell your property, find some kind of short-term rental, because you're going to be out of your home. You're going to know exactly how many dollars you have for that next purchase. I think it makes that process really easy. But you were saying you're adding a move in there, so you're going to have 2
Yeah,
movements.
it's going to be essentially a second move, because you're gonna get your house ready, you're gonna box things up. You're probably either gonna have to pick out a place to rent, buy storage. It's kind of a process, but it's really just it's moving all your things once for the sale, and then you're gonna move all your things again for the purchase. So a little bit inconvenient with a second move, but I think it's probably relieve some of that stress with trying to finance for a second mortgage.
And to have 2 properties, to have, kind of have both things going at the same time, I think can be a lot. It helps if you can tack one thing down at a time. So the next one we would talk about would be purchasing a home contingent on the sale of your home. So this is, you're going out shopping and you're looking for your dream home, and you're going to you're going to try to get it under contract. And then that contract is going to be contingent on you selling your home. So as soon as you get that locked in, you call us, we come out, we get you listed, we get you active. A lot of times there's going to be a timeline. We're going to get you on the market within 3 to 5 days. That one, doing it that way, I think a lot of people want to move in that direction, but I do see some challenges come up quite a bit on navigating that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows how hard it is to buy a house. And so when you're asking a buyer to wait for you to do something that's pretty much already been impossible for them,
Right.
is going to be a really, really hard ask. And you're going to have to find a motivated buyer who either really wants your house or they are, just willing to wait for you to, find that dream house that you are looking for. So it does add a lot of convenience to the seller, but you're asking a buyer to take a huge risk because it's not only are you taking the opportunity from them to shop other houses, but you're asking them to wait for you to buy a house, which essentially, if you don't find a house in, let's just say, 3 to 4 months.
So you're saying, I think you're jumping over to if you're selling your house contingent on finding the home of your dreams.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
Yep.
So there's kind of the two ways. So you can do it either you get your house under contract or you get the other house under contract. Those are the kind of the two variations there.
Yeah, you can either flip, you can either sell contingent upon buying, or you could buy contingent upon selling. Both ways are just it's a really big ask, and in my eyes, you're going to be spending a lot more money than the just sell, rent, and move again. If you just really like the house that you have kids in school, there's always different situations,
different reasons, yeah.
And there's reasons for doing these types of processes. It's just it'd probably be the last of the two that I would want to try to look at would be contingent upon a sale of a home.
Yeah, and I think, like when we're doing offers right now on properties, on high demand properties, we're getting multiple offers. If a seller's looking at a property, if they're looking, maybe person A comes in with cash, person B comes in with financing, person C comes in contingent on the sale of the other person's home, they're going to probably hard pass on you.
Yeah, they're not even going to look at your number if you're going to be.
So that's going to be more geared towards properties that are maybe been on the market for a little bit longer. You might be able to pull something like this off. But I would say it's going to be a real uphill. I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say hard no. Each situation is going to be a little bit different. But it's going to be a lot more difficult to navigate that process.
Yeah. I mean, contingent upon a sale, it's going to be great for one of the parties. One party, and it's going to have to be motivation probably on price to get that motivation of convenience to be able to sell a property to make a transaction happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, when you're thinking about selling, obviously we're trying to have like a hypothetical conversation about some of the different situations that exist, but it seems like every situation is a little bit different. So if you're in that position and maybe you're not ready to talk to a realtor yet, I would say the first step would probably be connect with a loan officer. You can obviously reach out to us. We can connect you with a loan officer if you don't have one already. But to kind of have that conversation in advance to see where you're at financially, to see if what your options are going to be, is going to make this process easier. For some people, it's just going to be a hard no. I think they're not going to be able to pull it all off or make this all work. Maybe you need to save some additional money. So I think it's really important to have that conversation.
Yeah, you can always reach out to your realtor too, because you might have some resourceful lenders who can kind of, create some optimism here for the situation that you're in and kind of get things, rolling with, maybe possibly a bridge loan. Maybe there's some things that you could do financially that the lender might know that could actually help you be able to afford that second mortgage. So, feel free to reach out to a realtor. You're going to have to figure out what the value of your home is, kind of the situation that you do want to sell, and then also find the house that you want to buy. So it's just it's a lot. It's a big plan.
Yeah.
And talking with a realtor who's done it, a time or two, it's going to be helpful.
Yeah, what I like to do for my clients when they're in that situation, when they're taking a look at whether or not to make that first move, is I'll do what's called a net sheet for them. And what that net sheet will do is it'll take that bottom line. It'll say cash to seller. And then you can take that number and then you can really start making decisions. Figure out what your house is going to sell for. There's expenses related to selling, and figuring out exactly dollars to donuts, how much money you're going to have can help you influence and make that decision. But you can also provide that information to your lender, and then they can go, oh, so you're getting, $150,000 from this sale. We can maybe get you in non-contingent or contingent, or maybe it's easier to buy. And like we talked about, like selling your home, renting in a short-term situation, finding your dream home, and then moving into that new property and just really trying to analyze all those options. So,
Yeah, those are great points that are going to be super helpful. That's why the advisory team does such a good job too, is they provide those net sheets for us and all the information that we need to be successful in helping people move.
Because at the end of the day, it's about the money, right? I mean, that's probably the biggest motivation is like, where
I would say like
where are the
90,
numbers?
90% of people love money. Sometimes convenience can,
It can impact
yeah,
that.
you know, if you're 96 years old and, you have 4 kids who all own a home, I mean, I don't know how much money is going to be motivation for you as a 96-year-old.
I do. I have, and I'm not going
And
to.
that personally happened to me. I had a 96-year-old client that was looking to sell, and I wanted to obviously get her the most money, but she just wanted to sell. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much. Again, Jordan, it's our second video we've done together.
Yeah.
We did one recently. We posted on Facebook. If you got any value from this video, please throw a comment down there, or maybe you know somebody in a situation, can also share this video with them. If you got any feedback, or maybe there's something else that you'd like us to cover, we're going to try to get this out continuously. Obviously, we're both very busy, so we're just really trying to make that time to get this information out there for you consumers.
Yeah, I think Justin and I just love to help and figure out your situation and give you some solutions. So just feel to reach out if you got some kind of situation going on or questions.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll see you in the next video, guys.
All right, take it easy.